though. Now behind my back, won't be long till you share it in the group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. That's though how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for a cloud, keep on going, give you something you can talk about.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday, November 26th? It is the day before Thanksgiving, so it kind of feels like a Friday in a way. I think another reason why it feels like a Friday is because the jury verdict in this civil trial between Megan the Stallion Pete and Milagro Grams Cooper is seeming like it's gonna be over today. It sounds like the jury verdict is going to be coming out today. This morning was I think there was, like, a little bit more that Megan the Stallion's lawyer had to do with something called a rebuttal, and, it's 10:30 right now, so that was, that's supposed to start about 9 o'clock. So if everything's going according to schedule, I would imagine the jury is either receiving their instructions right now or maybe they even perhaps have started deliberations. I haven't seen anybody saying on Twitter or anything that the deliberations have officially begun. Again, it is 10:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I think they're the same time zone over there in Florida as I am up here in New Jersey. Shout out to the cousins in the chat. Okay, so I had a few things that I wanted to talk to y'all about. So we've gotten to the point in the trial, or maybe it was at this point already, but it's a point in the trial where I'll say the things have gotten a bit more tedious. They're a little bit more, in the weeds, as it were, insofar as the specific elements. It's one thing for people to be online and rightfully so, having their opinions about this trial. One thing that's coming up a lot is Milagro media? Does she qualify as, look at that, I scratch myself like the tiniest bit, and that's what happens. Is she media for the purposes of this particular provision in the Florida statutes? Now, I'm not, an expert by any means on Florida statutes or anything like that, but it does appear to me that Megan the Stallion and the Rock Nation, I'm saying Rock Nation team, but technically speaking, really, it's just Megan the Stallion who has her name on here as somebody suing. So, it's kind of like Megan the Stallion has convinced, I think, a lot of people online, and maybe perhaps there's bots, I don't know, that a lot of this stuff really did happen. And there's a lot of room for people to have opinions about quote new media. I do, and I told y'all the first day I covered this trial, I'm a little biased. I am not somebody on this particular case, this Milagro, Megan P. versus Milagro case. I'm not somebody that's neutral and unbiased. Now, I've never spoken to Milagro. I'm calling her my cousin on Twitter. She's probably my cousin because it looks to me like she's got, she's from Texas, and I'm about 13th generation Louisianian. My ancestors came through Texas. So I don't know. It's giving cousin. And anyway, it turns out she's actually Beyonce's actual blood related cousin. It's funny. Me and Beyonce have the same birthday, but she's like many years older than me. Anyway, so there's a lot of people out here that are saying, Milagro shouldn't be she shouldn't be legally allowed to do what she has done and what she does, and she should not be allowed to talk about Megan Thee Stallion and stuff like that. I mean, that's people's opinion. I think that's crazy. I think that is absolutely insane for an opinion to have, because then that means you're saying that about your own self. So you're saying you shouldn't be allowed to have an opinion. And I do think, and this is just my opinion, I do think that perhaps this is Milagro media or not, like, discussion has gotten a bit overblown in the larger discussion of should she be allowed to say this stuff? Because the question is not should Milagro be allowed to have an opinion. Okay, should she be allowed to have more of an opinion if she's media, less of an opinion if she's media? It has nothing to do with that. The things that Milagro are being sued for, and Megan the Stallion, argues this in court through her lawyers. Milagro's not media. She's just some girl. So really, If Milagro is not media, then anything that happens to Milagro on the stand today could happen to you, even if you don't have a YouTube channel. So it's a very interesting kind of tangled up web. And I told y'all I am biased, not only because I am a YouTuber, but because I'm we the people. I'm one of the people. And I hold this truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal and entitled to our opinions, and women and they thems and everybody else, cats and dogs too. I mean, really. If you have an opinion, you should be allowed to say it. Now, the argument coming back to that, I'm sure, from Megan Thee Stallion's team or Megan Thee Stallion herself, not that she watches these videos. I have no reason to believe she's ever watched any of my videos because I'm really just a girl on the internet. But the argument, I'm sure, would be she didn't just give her opinion. Milagro defamed Megan Thee Stallion. That's what I'm sure they would argue. They would say she defamed Megan Thee Stallion because she said that Megan Thee Stallion perjured herself on the stand. Well, we've sat through, well, I didn't sit through. Some people, in the courtroom have sat through and discussed what they've heard in the courtroom, in the courthouse, and none of them really say that Milagro ever did say Meg Thee Stallion committed perjury. Because defamation per se is whenever you or someone, it's a type of defamation, obviously, but it's whenever someone says something that's just really, there's different ways you can get a defamation per se ruling, but one of the ways is if you outright accuse somebody of a crime. So a very, very black and white example would be, oh, everybody knows John Doe is a convicted PDF file. Everybody knows that. He's a convicted PDF file. And come to find out, no, he's not. He's never even charged for that. He's never been accused of that. Somebody's just straight up lying and making that up. That would be an example of defamation per se. So if you accuse somebody of committing a crime, because everybody is supposed to be considered to be innocent until proven guilty, then that's defamation. But opinions are not defamation. So the foundational thing about defamation is that you, to be found liable for it, have to present a false fact, a fact that is false, and you have to present it as if it is true. Facts, true facts, are not defamation. They're not defamatory. They're not even actionable. True facts are not defamatory. So, for example, John Doe was at the bar on Sunday night, and I know this because there is security camera footage and everybody agrees, and John Doe also admitted he was at the bar, and he was at the bar, and there's all this proof he was at the bar. Okay, so that if it's true, if he was at the bar, then it can't be defamation because that's to be false. So in the Megan Thee Stallion case, one of the things that she's really saying that she was defamed is that Milagro said she committed perjury on the stand. We'll come find out there wasn't really evidence presented at trial that Milagro said Megan, quote, committed perjury. You have to do what's called an inference. You have to take the fact that Milagro said Megan has been caught in lies. She hasn't kept her story straight. And then, kind of like make another extra step to say, well, maybe she was implying perjury. So because she was implying perjury, that's defamation per se. Well, Milagro threw quite the wrench into this whole thing through her lawyers just the other day whenever she asked the judge to reconsider the judge's earlier ruling that Milagro is, quote, not a media defendant. Whether or not Milagro is media has nothing to do with her right to her opinion. Whether she is media has to do with a specific provision within Florida statutes. And within Florida statutes, if you're going to sue somebody for defamation, you have to tell them first. You have to give them a notice, and you have to give them an opportunity to cure their supposedly defamatory statements. Now, Florida is not the only state that has this. New Jersey has this. When I was sued for defamation, again, I keep winning. When I was sued for defamation in New Jersey, I did get a demand letter first, and they demanded that I apologize, and they demanded that I retract certain statements. And I didn't do that because none of the statements that I made were defamatory, but I always kept, I always kept the offer open. If y'all can show me that something I said isn't true, if you can show me the truth, that I will be happy to not only issue an apology, but I'll take down the video where I said it because I don't want to be saying false stuff. So That's why I told y'all from the beginning, I am biased. Okay. I am biased because I have been abused with lawfare. It's like being at war. And I think about Milagro, and she's saying, we just found out, Pam, shout out to Pam Esquire, who I also don't know and never talked to, but she seems to be giving some very, very thorough and neutral, it seems to me to be a non-biased coverage of this trial, and she's been inside the courtroom. So shout out to her. Thankfully, she was there. Armand Wiggins was doing a great job too, but he's no longer there. So, he didn't do a video last night. But come to find out yesterday, it ended up getting told that Milagro's not even paying these lawyers that are representing her anymore because she can't afford it. She also said the other day that she lost her station head contract. See, this whole time I thought Milagro was making $6,000 a month for doing her station head show, but come to find out, no, she's not. And partially the reason why she's not is because of this lawsuit and because she's been attacked so viciously by Megan Pete. And this is how it's been characterized by Milagro. And so again, y'all, I wasn't in there. This is fourth, fifth hand information. I don't have a notebook full of notes or anything, but there's all kinds of details, all kinds of things that happened over the last 2 days that, I guess I could cover. But since today's probably likely going to be the last day of the trial, or maybe it might go on into Monday, since that's at issue, I do want to kind of talk about the broader implications, ramifications, and what's at issue in this trial. So before we get into that, I do want to just circle back on a little issue of a point of order. Megan Thee Stallion yesterday was determined and ruled by the judge on this case, who I've always said I think is kind of biased, in favor of Megan Pete. Like, has people who have followed this case closely, has the judge ever actually sided with Milagro on an evidentiary ruling before the trial? Like, it seems like the judge always just sides against Milagro and for Megan Cooper. Megan Cooper. Oh my God. Against Milagro and for Meg Thee Stallion. Like, every time Meg Thee Stallion wants something, the judge gives it to her. And every time Milagro wants something, the judge does not. But even this, in my opinion, so far from what I could tell, biased judge, even this judge was like, no, Megan Thee Stallion, you're not allowed to talk to the media. When you were the one out there, you came to me and asked for a gag order, girl. Now you want to violate the gag order that you asked for? No, you violated it. So there was, some discussion about Megan Cuniff and another reporter. It wasn't just Megan Cuniff. Now, Megan Cuniff has taken a lot of the heat because it was just because you have freedom doesn't mean you have freedom to bully. I have literally knots. I have knots in my hair from like from reenacting how Megan Thee Stallion was out there flipping her hair. I mean, my neck muscles kind of hurt. She's out there flipping her hair. Just because you have freedom, it doesn't mean you have freedom to bully. I mean, she was loud and proud. She was loud and proud, stomping, prancing out of that courtroom. So yesterday, Meg Thee Stallion gets found to be violating the court order, the gag order. She violated it by talking to the media. I don't know if she was found to have violated it twice, once with Megan Cuniff, and one with this other, whatever, who else she made the statement to. But she came out of that courthouse yesterday, and in my opinion, she was looking like she never looked before. Stiff, looking down, walking like this, wobbling like, whenever you're like headed home after you've been wearing your heels to the club so long, the millennials will definitely know. And your feet hurt so bad, but there's like, glass or something on the ground. You can't take your shoes off, and you're just like you're just trying to just make it from point A to point B real quick. You're just trying to make it into the Uber. That's kind of like the whole vibe. Like, it looked like her feet hurt. It looked like she was despondent. It looked like she was defeated. And it's every single day I see her prancing into this courthouse and prancing out like she's just proved her point. Like, she's, different little hairstyles each day, and bouncing and hottying it all down there with her little, $7,000 to $12,000 to $40,000 purses or whatever. She's got a collection of these Hermes bags. I don't know if that one's called a Birkin. Or if that one's called a something else. I know the different sizes are called different something. I mean, never in my life could I afford even one. She seems to have a closet full, a collection full. And each and every day she's showing up with her thousands of dollar designer bags, and who God knows how much these suits cost. They're beautiful, I gotta say. But it's just kind of a flex of wealth in the face of, I think, just an ordinary person who's like, in my opinion, I certainly identify a lot more with like a Milagro Cooper type of person than a Megan Pete the Stallion, because Megan Pete the Stallion acts entitled and rich. Like, she's got all these thousands of dollar bags. She's got these, who God knows how much money she's spending on the suits, the shoes, the hair, the makeup. She probably gets done every day. I don't know. Maybe she's doing her own makeup. She's got a legion of lawyers, and apparently she's paying them. But Milagro is obviously, according to what I heard from inside the court, she's not, from people that were inside the court, she's not even paid. She can't even afford to pay her lawyers. She lost her station head contract. She's having to pay to stay in Florida, where she's not from and doesn't live. It just feels like bullying, and that's why I keep saying I'm biased, because that's how I look at it. I don't think it's right, and I don't think it's fair that these rich celebrities, who Nicki Minaj is talking about her, Joe Budden is talking about her, DJ Academics is talking about her. Hell, even Tory freaking Lanez, before the court order, the gag order, the protective order, he was talking about her. None of these people are getting sued. Why? Is it because they have money? And that was asked of her, and she acted like, no, it wasn't. And just because I haven't sued people already doesn't mean I'm not going to sue people. And it's like, okay, so you picked on the person with the least money and the least institutional support first. Like, that's why I already told y'all I'm biased, and I'm allowed to be, because it's my opinion. So yesterday she comes, I would say, wobbling out of the court house. And let me show y'all that video. Let me just show y'all. What it looked like. And we're not going to do volume, because I am going to circle back. I am going to circle back after I explain some more things, but here's it with no volume, and just take a gander. Hold on. Okay. So each and every day we watch her walking out of this court. I do. There's videos of her every day walking out. I'm covering the trial. I'm interested in it. Okay. We're not doing volume right now, because I'm going to come back to it. But look, this is markedly different, in my opinion, than to look at the little, we got in trouble. Okay. There's no, where's this? Where's this at? Where's this part? I'm wondering, where's that part? That's not what's going on today, is it? Oh, where's all this? Where's all this? I'm not seeing it today. I'm not seeing it today. And this, mine's a little, mine don't look like Megan's, because mine's tangly. It's dehydrated. It's got knots. I hadn't had a haircut in about 2.5, 3 years, but that's organic grown out my head. You know what I mean? So my hair ain't as cute as Megan's, but if I had Megan Thee Stallion money, it might be. Anyway, so I reposted it yesterday. I think Megan's hair is real too. She didn't grow it. She looks cute. She looks very cute. I love a little headband moment. I think that her stylists have done a great job styling her for court. There's a few things that I would say, like, if you're asking me to style someone for court, I would change a few styling things. Like, I would give her a tote. I would give her a full-size Birkin, like the full size. So you could put a laptop in there, and you could put a notebook in there, and then she could pull her notebook out at court and draw pictures even. Things are, there's certain optics to going to court, and she's just going in there with her $10,000. I don't know how much these bags are. She said if my wig was $800, it better bounce. Listen, the hair looks good, and I do not think it is fake hair. I just think she didn't grow it. It's probably real hair. It's probably some Indian lady or some Brazilian person grew it or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's where's all this? You know what I mean? Where's the bouncing? She's looking straight down. Looks like she's, wobble. Looks like her feet hurt. And so I retweeted it. Y'all know me. I retweeted it and said, this is a remarkable departure. And remember, y'all, this right here, this is after. This is after she got found to be in violation of a court order. Okay. So she's looking sad. Again, another thing that I would do differently if I was styling her, the outfit is fine. The headband is cute. The hair is great. The bag, I would do a bigger one so that you could put a notebook in there. And the shoes, I would never, ever advise you, if I'm styling you, to wear open toe shoes into any court, especially a federal court. Do not wear open toe shoes to the courthouse if you can help it. A modest pump, 3-inch heel max, 3-inch heel max, and I would cover the toe. Listen, is this my rule? Hell no. Y'all know I grew up in a trailer park. Okay. It's kind of like, if you remember, like, if anybody's from the South, like what your grandma used to would tell you to wear to church. You would, if you have your legs showing, you need to wear some tights. You need to wear some hose, some nylons. I don't know if she's wearing nylons or not. We call them pantyhose, but those shoes are for the club. Those shoes are for the pole. Those shoes are not for the courthouse. I had to learn things the hard way. I'm trying to impart, stuff I had to pay tuition to learn onto y'all. So otherwise, these are little things. These are little tiny critiques. And this is only to help y'all. If you got to go to court, closed toe shoes, even if it's flats, it's better than these open toe, pleasers, I would say. That being said, she looks cute. She looks fine. What she also looks is dejected and despondent. She looks rode hard and put up wet in the sense of emotions. She's stiff. So I retweeted it. And I said, this is a remarkable departure from this morning when she was into the court. A remarkable departure. So, girl, tell me why they tried to start coming for me. Two different, I think, bots. I blocked them. I don't give a shit about them. Two different people whose faces were not on their pictures. I want to see your face before I care about your opinion. I need to see how you're living your life. I need to see your relationship. I need to see a lot before I give a shit about what you're trying to tell me. Okay. But two different people were like, breaking news. One person's like, breaking news. A lady looks tired after spending all day in court. Okay, blocked. More at 11. Megan Cuniff, I think, and y'all know, I always give Megan Cuniff her flowers. Even in the face of y'all, my own followers, my loyal followers who love me, y'all don't like Megan Cuniff. Y'all say she's biased. Y'all call her mean names. Y'all are mean about what she looks like. And I do not participate in that because I think it's mean. And she never did nothing to me. So I'm like, look, thank God this lady is going in there to report on it. And if you don't want to listen to what Megan Cuniff is saying, please don't. That's your prerogative. But Megan Cuniff, and I think, in her defense, not that she needs me to defend her. In her defense, I think she got a little bit called to the carpet yesterday in court too, because usually she's just reporting on stuff. She's out there doing her journalism and she's out there doing her reporting. And truly, thank you to her for doing this reporting, because without her, there would be a lot less information on the trial. So truly, thank you to her. But I think she was maybe feeling like a little in her feelings, a little some type of way yesterday, because she got brought up in court. Okay. And she, as a journalist or something she said in this documentary, referring to a group of people as reporters, referring to Milagro as a reporter, something, I don't know. But she got brought up. And so she's tweeting Megan Cuniff yesterday is like, one of the things about this trial that I find to be interesting and different than other trials is there's just nobody's objecting to anything. Nobody's objecting to questions about this and that. I think she wanted them to object to questions about her. Now, this is all coming on the heels of another incident that happened in the last week or so. There's a lawyer, Ariel Mitchell Kidd, who she's threatening. I shouldn't say threatening like that's a specific word, but she's teasing like Megan Cuniff is going to get sued for something, like served for something, sued for something. So I don't know if Megan Cuniff is like just a little bit on edge and she wanted to maybe direct her tension toward me yesterday. I don't know if she maybe misread my tweet or read more, and maybe she has gotten her ego involved. Maybe she is biased in the case. I mean, from what I understand, I thought Megan Cuniff was supposed to be like kind of like unbiased, neutral reporting, and maybe that's not true. Maybe she is biased. I don't know. Okay, but definitely yesterday she had said to my tweet. Because so remember, so where are we here? Megan the Stallion is walking like this out of the court. I noticed that she's walking real different than usual. Right? Like she's usually, showing how good that wig is affixed to her head and how much it's not going to fly off because she could go on, any ride at Six Flags with that thing and it would stay on with how she's doing all this. So I'm like, where's all that energy that you've had every single day going into the court and leaving out of the court today? Well, maybe it has something to do with the fact that you got called to the carpet over them media statements and found to be in violation of a gag order. So I said, Megan Cuniff apparently did not like it. Okay, she said, yeah, it's almost like she sat in court all day for 8 hours listening to lawyers speak. Really? Is that what it is? That's what it was? That she sat in court all day listening to lawyers speak? So, okay, fine. All right, fine. Cool. I'll bite. I'll bite. Has there been another day or 2 or 5 or 6 or 7 that Megan the Stallion sat in court for 8 hours listening to lawyers speak? Yes, there have. And so I have gathered the receipts because look, listen, all I'm really interested in is the facts. All I'm really interested in is the truth. So I've gathered some receipts. We're going to review them together. And then I'll let y'all decide. Was Megan the Stallion yesterday just simply tired from a long day in court? Or was she rode hard, put up wet emotionally because for the first time she got in this whole court case? I'm not in the courtroom. I ain't in there. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up the video where it is said by Megan Cuniff, Megan the Stallion violated the gag order. Let's start there.
And everyone is back tomorrow. We should have a verdict tomorrow. Closing arguments are done and rebuttal is almost done. Megan's lawyer is going to finish his rebuttal tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and then the jury should begin deliberating after the judge.
This was yesterday.
I thought Milagro's lawyer had the better closing. He really focused on the law and went through the actual statements that are alleged to be defamatory. Her talking about Megan being untruthful or uncredible witnesses in Tory Lanez's trial. Milagro testified for a couple hours this morning, and then they also had Megan back on the stand to ask her about her commenting to people outside the courthouse, which the judge ruled was in violation of a gag order. So I actually got brought up. Milagro's lawyer, Jeremy McLymont, was trying to counter Megan.
Megan said, I got brought up right after she said the judge ruled Milagro. Excuse me. Megan said, I got brought up after the judge ruled. She said, the judge ruled Megan Pete, the Stallion, was in violation of a gag order or the court order, whatever she said. And I got brought up. So again, look, listen, I already told y'all I'm biased. I'm not disinterested. I mean, I guess I'm disinterested insofar as I don't know any of these people personally, but like I'm biased because I certainly hope for a certain outcome in this case, not just for Milagro, who I think did not defame. And I've been saying this whole time that Milagro might have done the sharing, the promotion of the deep fake, but there's other elements. There's other elements to that law. And thank you, shout out to Pam Esquire for explaining that on her live from last night. And it kind of changed my mind on it. Like, I actually think, it's possible a jury is about to let Milagro go walk right out of this courthouse and find her not liable on any of these charges. She's about to go have a great Thanksgiving with her family. So we'll see. It's going to probably happen today, whatever happens. So let's continue on. Again, I want y'all to see the receipts. Here is the video. Let's look at the video that was violating the gag order. This video has now been found to be a violation of the court order. Okay, let's watch it. Hold on. Let's listen to the question. Here's the question.
Megan, what do you want other bloggers to know about their behavior online?
Just because you have freedom of speech, that does not mean you have freedom to bully.
That's right.
Here's the video back on YouTube. Take care of yourself. Be blessed.
Okay. So you will note. Oh girl, was this not even up? Hold on, we got to do it all over again. Thank God I was doing a reenactment. So y'all pretty much got the gist. Okay, but let's do it again. I want you to observe. You will note she is on her way back to the car. She said, this is the end of the day. This is the best bag she brought all week, by the way. This is the best bag she brought all week. Because you could fit a notebook in there. You could fit a pen, you could fit your laptop, whatever. So all right, here we go. I did the reenactment. Y'all see how y'all let me know in the comments and in the live chat how good was my reenactment. Okay. No, okay, here you
go. Megan, what do you want other bloggers to know about their behavior online?
Just because you have freedom of speech, that does not mean you have freedom to bully.
That's right.
Music video back on YouTube. Take care of yourself. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Okay. Just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you have freedom to bully. Okay, so you will note she's getting in the car, she's leaving. So guess what she's been doing all day in this video where she had that pep in her step and enough pep in her step to violate a court order. Guess what she's been doing all day, everybody? She been sitting in court. Actually, I think this day was even worse because I think this day she testified. She was crying. She was telling them she had PTSD. If I recall correctly, so she'd be even more tired on this day, I would imagine. You know, you're up there, you're really reliving all your supposed trauma. That didn't stop her from flipping that hair, bouncing that body. She didn't have the wobble, okay? She wasn't wobbling. She wasn't doing 2 a.m. walking home from the club walk that we've all done. Just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you have freedom to bully. Oh, she thought she ate. She thought Thanksgiving came early. She thought she really ate. So it's interesting to me that now all of a sudden it was sitting in the courtroom all day. Made her so tired that she had to look straight down to the ground, walk stiff, look rode hard, put up wet, and wobble to the car with a tight mouth like this. I didn't see none of this, but there it is right there. Okay. And since I'm a Virgo, that's not the only receipt I went and dragged up. We're going to take a few more. Because here's the thing. What I always say is, if it don't have anything to do with me, I'm pretty much going to just, let it go. But now we got people, including Megan, the unbiased CUNIF, saying that it's, implying that it's just simply because Megan the Stallion just had a long day in court yesterday. That's why she had that dejected demeanor. Okay, no, I don't believe so. Let's go back to November 17th. November 17th, this was last week. This is 9 days ago. Okay, so she's walking out of court. Oh, look, there's she's smiling. Good. Thank you.
Thanks for being so kind with the
Thank you. Okay. So you will note she's getting in her car to leave. She's been in court all day. It's almost like being in court all day isn't what got her looking down at the ground yesterday. It's almost like Getting her ass handed to her is what happened. But I'm gonna let y'all look at some more. We got more receipts. Let's go to November 19th. Let's see her leaving court on November 19th. Let's see how she looks. Oh, look at all this energy. Smiling, laughing. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha.
Focus on the people that love you. Focus on the love. Just like you took your height, your childhood insecurity.
Okay, where's the dejected look? Where's the stiffness? Where's the looking down to the ground? She's looking at this media. Thank you. She's speaking. Thank you. So many people out here. Oh my God. She been in court all day. Shouldn't she be stiff, wobbling, and looking like she almost can't even make it to the car? Because that's what I'm being told yesterday. Don't play with me. I'm not gaslightable, baby girl, baby they, baby boy. I am impervious. I trust myself, my eyes, my senses. I trust. The girl looked dejected, and I'm not going to be gaslit. She has the ability to walk out of court every other day. Thank you. Thank you. And now y'all might be thinking, oh, it's because it's the end of the trial. Oh, no, we got video of her going in this morning too. So if she was so tired yesterday, she ain't tired today. She only got a few hours of sleep since then. I'm not gonna be gaslit. Pick somebody else to gaslight, bitch, because it ain't fitting to be me. Huh. No. This is November.
Look at Tom. We gotta get
What? 19. She's talking. Thank you. Thank you so much. She look tired to y'all after sitting in court? Does she look tired to y'all after sitting in court for all those hours and listening to all those lawyers? After testifying, after doing all this, does she look tired to y'all? She don't look the same kind of tired how what she looked like yesterday when she walked out of there doing the walk of shame on them open toe shoes, them open toe 4 to 6 inch pleasers with her however many goddamn $1,000 bag. So she was just only one day in court. Only one of the days made her so tired. Okay. Let's go to again. Now that you've seen that, let's compare again how she acted this day. This is the day she violated the gag order.
Just because you have freedom of speech, that does not mean you have freedom to bully.
Oh, she thought she ate. She did not. Look. She been in court all day. She been in court all week. She been in court all day. Okay, so I think I proved my point. Don't mess with me. And one other thing too. I don't do passive aggressive. I'm an Aries rising. That's the war planet. If I got an issue, I'm going to just say that. I got an issue with being gaslit. I'll say that. Okay? I like keeping the peace. I do not like conflict. But something I like even less than all that is a passive, aggressive loser. Okay? Shots been fired. Run and tell that. Say it to my face, though, not behind my back. Okay? Told y'all I had knots in my hair. Now, Johnny said, I'm a Virgo and Aries moon. I knew I loved your energy. Yes, we're going to play the dejected clip once more. Yes, we will. Now, I also have this other picture that I want to show y'all too. This is a thumbnail image from that same day of the day she violated the court order by, what do you want to tell other bloggers? And I just want to let you know, like, I don't know if I count as a blogger because I don't have a blog. I would consider myself to be a YouTuber, a legal edutainer, certainly media because I have a media platform. But let me show y'all a picture. This is the thumbnail image for Megan Keenan. She chose this thumbnail image, okay? So no shade, but that's her right there. And look at the hair flip. I mean, she's leaving court. Look at her. Mid hair flip. She's got that. Okay. All right. She ain't too tired to do all of that. Ain't too tired to do all that. But yesterday, after she got her ass handed to her, she's tired. Okay. All right. I guess so. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I didn't do the sleep study. I did not do the sleep study. Okay. Let's go back to the dejected clip. I mean, I know y'all just saw the hair flip, right? Just freedom to bully. And I took it like a threat. And this is something that Armand Wiggins a few nights ago did, I think, come to, I will say, realize, is that Milagro has been demonized and vilified for her own statements, but in part, she's been demonized and vilified as a tokenized. She's being used as a token. And I don't think that's fair, but that's what's happened. And it's like she now is like a representative of all of us. What do you have to say? What do you have to say to other bloggers out there? Better be we got the right to our opinions and keep walking. Better be. What do you have to say to other bloggers out there? First of all, I wouldn't characterize myself as a blogger. So I don't know if that would apply to the likes of me or like an Armand Wiggins, but it's like, just because you have the right to freedom of speech doesn't mean you have the right to freedom of bully or whatever the hell she said. And it's like, that's exactly what that freak, Beth Karras, that loser freak, Beth Karras, did in the documentary that they made about me. She said something almost exactly the same about me. She said, just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you have freedom from consequences or something like that. Bitch. Go make sure your dentures are fitting right and stop worrying about what I'm doing. Dehydrated loser. Hold on. Just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you're not going to get abused by defamatory hit pieces. And I find it to be very interesting. Another reason why I am biased in favor of Milagro, because they used that HBO documentary against her in court. Didn't you go and say this? Da 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 da. Or when they did the complaint, she was featured on da 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 da. No, I'm not gaslighting anybody. She has been tokenized insofar as she's being used as a representative, an emblem, an icon of all of us. And she's also been, frankly, mischaracterized and misrepresented in this lawsuit, in the filings, in my opinion. And we heard this from Armand Wiggins, and we heard this from other sources that were in the courtroom as well. It's like they would play, Megan's side would play one little part of something Milagro said. Then Milagro's lawyers would come up and they'd play the whole thing. And then it was like, oh, well, that's not what was presented to us the first time. So y'all see just because you have freedom, what do you have to, the question too, what do you have to say to other bloggers out there? What'd she say? What was that question? Megan Cuniff is more of a blogger than any of us because she has a blog. Tell it one more time. Megan Cuniff should be the most worried about bloggers losing ground in as far as our rights, because she got a blog. I don't got a blog. I don't know if Armand got a blog. Not that I know of. The only person that got a blog, I mean, we've been reading it all week. And last week too. She got a blog. She's a blogger. So here she is. What do you have to say to other bloggers? So what do you have to say to me? I don't get it. I ain't a blogger. So I'm going to say she wasn't talking to me. But this type of, just because you have freedom of speech doesn't mean you have freedom of, that bitchy ass bullshit has been used against me to abuse me, falsely characterize me, harm me. make me appear to be a dangerous individual whenever all I am doing is giving my opinion on extreme matters of public importance. So that's happened to me already. It's almost like it's scripted. It's almost like it was a planted scripted question to get a point out. And the Lord said, you violated a court order, girl.
Megan, what do you want other bloggers to know about their behavior online?
Just because you have freedom of speech, that does not mean you have freedom to bully.
That's right.
Girl, music video back on YouTube.
We love you.
Take care of yourself. Be blessed.
Thank you.
She don't look tired to me. That was after sitting in court all day. She don't look tired to me. Maybe it was Satan gave her enough energy to come out and be bitchy or something. I don't know. I can't pretend to know. All I know is that hair was flipping. The hair was flipping and flying. All right. Bouncing. Okay. November 21st. Did we already see this one? Okay. November 21st. She.
I hope you know social digital currency and access to what you want to go to social media.
Okay. Where are her eyes? Her eyes down? Is she looking down? Is she stiff? No. She don't look too tired there. Okay. So let's look at her arriving to court yesterday. Let's see if she started getting tired yet. This is her getting to court in the morning. Let's see. Open toe shoes. These are not what I would have somebody wear. Smiling, bouncing, walking, strutting. Go. Work. Look at the bounce. Look at the smile. Click, clack, walking into the court. Here I go. Look at my bag. It costs a lot of money and it matches my suit. Bounce. I mean, she could be auditioning for America's Next Top Model. Okay, she's creating her own wind, girl. Okay. And just one more time. After she got called to the carpet yesterday. Oh, where is it? Oh, there it is. There we go. Oh, where's that bounce? She's looking the other way. She ain't smiling. She ain't saying thank you. Look at her. Oh. She's trying not to laugh. She knows she got in trouble. I'm not going to be gaslit. And I'm not going to be the target of anybody's corporatized bullshit, passive aggression. Ma'am. Okay. I wrote corporate emails with the best of them per my last email. I could do that too. You know what? I don't do that because it's fake. Phony. That bitch was walking like she was dejected, called to the carpet. She looked rode hard and put up wet. And I am not going to be gaslit. The walk of defeat. Now, she might win this whole case. She might win the whole case. She might get favorable rulings and all that. But almost as if she sat in court all. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Open that other eye, bitch, and use one. Because I ain't the one. I grew up on Porter's Bayou on the west side of the river. I ain't like your little friends, okay? I ain't like your little friends. I ain't a journalist, but oh yes, I'm media. Anyway, what else did I want to talk about today? Shout out to Life is Samad. Thanks so much for the £1.99 super chat. That's the walk of shame. And look, listen, maybe she was. I don't have a lie detector. I don't have a mind reader on her. But I know what it looks like whenever you just got in trouble and your feet hurt and you're just trying to get in your car. Okay. Especially when we have all these videos public put out of her prancing and hair flipping and talking to y'all the last week. Please, I'm not going to be gaslit. Pick on somebody else with the passive aggression, because I will go full aggression. Full. Y'all be all in the group chat talking about this one right here. And you will absolutely lose if you try to do any damn thing to me in court. You will lose and owe me attorney's fees, because first thing I'm doing is anti-slap. Worry about yourself. No. What is the jury actually going to be deliberating? Let me pull up the jury form. Now, this was just submitted yesterday. And it was jointly proposed. No, Megan didn't say that too, because she would have been violating the court order again if she said it. Okay. And the thing too, I do just want to bring up too, is like, I thought Megan Cuniff was supposed to be disinterested. I thought she was supposed to be like not biased. Like, what in the hell is she worried about what I think Megan the Stallion is looking like walking out of the car? I thought she's a neutral journalist, legacy media, or whatever. I mean, I see a lot of y'all in my comments trying to like differentiate between new media and legacy media. Like, I'm not in nobody's category, okay? Nobody can do what I do. No one can even hold a candle to what I do. And so I'm in my own lane, truly. I'm in my own lane. I ain't trying to compete with nobody. I ain't really trying to be compared to nobody. But there's similarities in what abuse I have faced and what is happening to Milagro. And I do see similarities. So there's that. But everybody has their own lane they need to be in. Armand Wiggins, I could never do what Armand does. Never. I told him that the other day. I could never do it. Nobody could do it like he does. After sitting and having your soul sucked and drained out in that courtroom all day and then getting on live for hours and hours and doing the things he does and explaining the way he does. And he does not have legal training from what I understand. So he's really doing a lot of intellectual work to even learn what's going on. Like he's got to understand what's going on in the courtroom. He's got to explain it to the people. You got to translate it in a way that makes sense to his audience, whoever's audience he's talking to, his audience at the time. But like, I'm just saying, like, as a skill in general, it's hard. So I can't do what Armand does. And I'm not trying to be compared to Armand. But I thought Megan's lane was like neutral, like girl that shows up, reports on a trial. Why is she taking it so personally that I made the reasonable assumption Megan the Stallion looked defeated walking out of court? And maybe Megan Cuniff got her ego involved in things. I have done that before. I'm doing it right now because I feel a little passive aggressivized and I don't play that game. That game, I don't play that game. I never played that game. And that's why one of the huge reasons why I didn't like working at a law firm, because you have to do this per my last email. So you chose to be over there in that lane. So that's the lane you need to be in. If I want to say somebody looks dejected, I should be allowed to do so without having the author of the journalist, the author of the tweet, the taker of the video, chastising me for making a reasonable observation. It's almost like she's a little biased. I know I am. I admit it though. Nobody has to come over here and wonder where I'm coming from, what I'm doing, who I'm working for, or who's paying me. You know who's paying me? Super chats and AdSense. Amen, Jesus. That's who's paying me. You know who gives me talking points? The Lord. The Lord. You know who pays my legal bills? My legal fund and my hard work and AdSense, super chats. Nobody has to wonder who's paying me over here because I don't go to court acting unbiased, then acting biased. I'm just saying. Should have kept my name out your mouth because now I got a passive aggressive tweet in my direction and I don't take kindly to it. I don't like it. I'm not going to allow it to continue. I retweeted it and it said, yup, old girl look rode hard and put up wet. Giddy up, bitch. Am I sorry about it? Nope. Would I do it again? Yep. Will I do it again just as soon as somebody does some passive aggressive, corporatized bullshit to me on Twitter again? Yup. Affirmative. Shout out to my mom for the $10 super chat. Tony. Want to be me so bad, but you failing. These jealous men that want to be women in my super chats and in my chats. These jealous men that want to be women, bitch, I'm everything that you could never be. I'm everything you want to be. Why are you putting makeup on? You grown. Back. Grown-ups are speaking. Grown-ups are speaking, little boy. I rebuke the legion you're possessed with as well. Megan the reporter can take her own fade, honey child. Next. Who next? Come up. Step to the plate, though. I'll take a challenger. Losers. This one got makeup on. The other one can't keep her eyes open during an interview. I mean, please. It's I am the least of their concerns. Huh. Anyway, what's the jury going to be deciding on? Pursuant to the court's amended case management and scheduling order, Plaintiff Megan Pete and Defendant Milagro Cooper respectfully submit the following verdict form. The parties respectfully reserve the right to amend their proposed verdict form prior to this time. Okay. Joint proposed verdict form. In answering the following questions and filling out this verdict form, you are to follow. Okay, so this is what the jury is going to see. You are to follow the court's final instructions to the jury and any instructions provided in this verdict form. Your answer to each of the following must be unanimous. We, the jury, unanimously answer. Okay, this big. If even one juror says, no, I'm not buying it, I think Milagro wins. Or it's like a hung jury, it's like a mistrial. I don't exactly know how it works in the civil sense, but the jury has to be unanimous. Number one is the defamation per se. Now, this is the perjury thing. And it's the only thing here. That's the only defamation per se count right here is the perjury thing. Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Miss Cooper defamed Miss Pete? So Milagro defamed Megan Thee Stallion by accusing Megan Thee Stallion of perjury, a felony, by lying under oath in a criminal trial. So first of all, did Milagro even do that? Because according to Pam Esquire, it was kind of just only by implication. Milagro didn't say Megan committed perjury. She said, well, she either lied on the stand or she lied previous, and we don't really know. So is that even saying she committed perjury? I don't think so. I'm not the jury, though. I'm just telling y'all what the jury form says. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I'm reading y'all's comments. Okay, so yes or no. If you answer yes to this question, do you find that she defamed Miss Pete? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, keep on going down the list. Okay, so the next question, question 2, deals with that media thing. Because from what I understand from Armand, the judge was like willing to determine whether or not Milagro was a quote media defendant. Because remember, if Milagro is media defendant, Megan Thee Stallion had a duty to send her a cease and desist first. So, from what I understand from Armand, the judge could have decided yes or no, is Milagro a media defendant? But again, this is from what I understand from Armand. I watched this video. I think this is what he was saying. Maybe this ain't even what he was saying, but even if it is what he was saying, I wasn't in there. I'm just telling you, recording one from what he said. And I do encourage y'all, please go watch his videos. He's very entertaining. He's very funny and informative, which is the most important. So he was saying that Milagro and her team chose, selected and elected to have the jury decide on this media thing, but the judge could have decided on it, but Milagro would have rathered the judge to decide. Well, excuse me. Milagro apparently rathered with her lawyers that the jury decide this issue. So first of all, they're just going to ask, did she defame? So the jury might say no. Now, if I was putting this jury sheet together from scratch, not even knowing anything about, how these normally go, I feel like I would get to the preliminary question first, which is she media? Does she count as media? But they're not doing that. They asking about the defamation first. Now, the jury might just say no. They might have, 8 of them say yes and 1 say no. And then I don't know what happens. But then they move on and it's like, so if they say yes, she defamed Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, fine. Move on to question 2. Do you find that Milagro provides disinterested and neutral commentary rather than advocates for a particular client or personal interest? Now, this is interesting that this is one of the questions of whether somebody's media or not, but I don't know how the jury's going to answer on this. But it's only one part. It's 4 parts that they have to come to the decision for. So this is one part. So then his next question, do you find that Milagro, quote, regularly disseminates news or information to the public rather than making isolated or one-time publications? So if I'll fill out what I think is probably going to happen here on this one, at least. I think it's very strong chance they're going to say yes on this one. So I think they would put, at this one, because it's like, really, there's no room for debate. Like, in my opinion, right? Does she, quote, regularly disseminate news or information to the public? Does she just something she does regularly? I think because this is her job, the answer is most likely just got to be yes. This is her job. She does it every single day. She was doing it 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for Station Head, like regularly disseminates information to the public. That's yes. Now, that doesn't mean yes, she's media. It just means it's yes to this question. Like it says, regardless of your answer, move on to the next one. Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Milagro, quote, impartially disseminates information? Now, I did highlight impartially because I think that's an area, no shade, that the jury can maybe disagree. They might find her to be not impartial, like she's biased. But again, that doesn't mean she's not media. That's just one of the elements that you can consider in coming to the final conclusion of yes or no. Is she media? So these are like little, when you're like making you're writing a paper for school or whatever, you put your conclusion at the top and then you got to put your supporting sentences. So these are kind of the supporting to the main conclusion. Is she media? But this isn't is she media. This is, does she impartially, does the jury find? Milagro impartially disseminates information rather than acting primarily to promote her own business, products, or services. I don't know how the jury's going to find on this one, so I won't put a little X in that one. Okay. Regardless of your answer to that, continue to question 5. Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Milagro operates for the purpose? So now they're asking about the purpose. For the purpose of informing the public about matters of public concern through either, it doesn't have to be news. Now, a lot of people are getting real stuck and hung up on is Milagro news? Is she a journalist? Is she non-biased? Is she credible? Like, these things are all separate than is she media? Okay, so you don't have to be putting news out only. Look at how it's actually written here. Do you find by a preponderance of evidence that Milagro operates for the purpose? Nothing about unbiased, non-biased, none of that in this one. Just only for the purpose. What's Milagro's purpose? Is it to analyze or comment on matters of public concern through informing the public? Put another way, is the purpose informing the public about matters of public concern through commentary? So, like, for the purposes of, this is how the function of the sentence is, right? When you have or, that is an exclusive. It's not an inclusive. So it means you only need one. It doesn't have to be news and analysis and commentary. It only has to be news or analysis or commentary. You can imagine, like if it's the news, if there's somewhere in the world that exists non-biased news, which I'm starting to wonder, do they have to provide analysis and commentary? No, they could just come on. Hi, Megan Thee Stallion's in court today. Gotta go, bye. That's news. That is informing the public. You don't have to do commentary. And in the same way, Milagro don't have to do news reporting, although I would say she does. But considering the lowest common denominator of this one, I think the jury's going to also say yes on this one. I think they're going to find that she does operate, or her business operates, through her business, whatever you want to call it, for the purpose of informing the public about matters of public concern, which would be the high-profile trial of Tory Lanez, through commentary. I think they would say yes. Next question in the is she media analysis. Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Milagro functions in a similar manner to traditional news media, such as newspapers, magazines, television, radio, or other online equivalents? Does she function in a similar manner to traditional news media? That one, I think the jury, I don't know. They could go either way. I'm only putting the ones in here on yes, which I really think they're going to be there's no arguing. She's doing commentary on matters of public concern. Okay. Next one. Considering your answers to question 2 through 6 together, do you find that Miss Cooper should be treated as a media defendant with associated privileges? Now, for the last 2 days, they have really sat there and gotten all kinds of information out to the jury about Milagro's LLC, her trademark, the interviews she's done, the work for Ra Ali she did, the different separate columns and different things that she did. I think they call it a gossip column. The interview with DJ Academics, the appearance on the HBO documentary. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't, and Darcy's saying, wait, doesn't she perform all 3? Maybe. And I'm not saying this is the truth, this is not the truth. What I'm saying is, if I had to guess what the jury is going to say, I really can't guess on a lot of this stuff. Number one, are they going to find that she was disinterested and neutral? Maybe not. Maybe so. Number 2, does she regularly disseminate information to the public through, her work? Yeah, she definitely does. I don't see how a jury couldn't find yes on that. So that's why, the ones I feel totally nobody could disagree, and they could, truly. They've been in there. I haven't. Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Milagro operates for the purpose of informing the public about matters of public concern. I think yes. Do you find by preponderance of the evidence she functions a similar manner to traditional news media? Well, I mean, apparently she's been sitting up in there saying, I'm new media. I'm not the same as that media. I'm new media. I'm not the same and shouldn't be held to their same standards. So because of that, I don't know how a jury would find it. Like, just to be fully transparent with y'all, I think she's media. But I don't know how this jury's going to find. It's 8 people, 9 people. Okay. Considering your answers, do you think she should be treated as a media defendant? Now, let's say the jury answers yes to this question up here. This is going to be like one of the craziest outcomes. If the jury says yes, she defamed, let's just say, yes, Milagro Cooper defamed per se Megan the Stallion. But then they also find yes to the media question. I think Milagro gets to just walk out. Because under the Florida statute, if there's a, quote, media defendant, Megan the Stallion had a duty under the statute. It was a legal requirement to send a notice and to send notice and to send a cease and desist or a demand letter or whatever. And she didn't do that. So if the jury's like, oh, yeah, she defamed her. But then it gets dismissed because Megan didn't bother to send a cease and desist. Now again, y'all, they might find her no. They might say no. So actually we'll end up being pretty much irrelevant whether or not she's a media defendant, because the jury might just still be like, no, she didn't do that. Okay. So after the media stuff, then they get into the harm. One of the elements of defamation is harm. So what is defamation? Just to recap again, it's a false statement presented as if it is a fact to a third party, published to a third party, uttered to a third party. When it's a famous person, you have to do it with actual malice. The thing about defamation per se, and this is confusing. It's not confusing to me, but I don't know if I'm the best at explaining things, but because Megan the Stallion is famous, she's like a very famous person. She's considered to be a public figure under the law. Now, a public figure, in order to win on a defamation case, has to sue for either defamation per se, or in order to win on a defamation case, a public figure has to prove actual malice. Actual malice means Milagro said something false that she knew or should have known was not true. And that all, is already hard to do. But if it's defamation per se, like John Doe is a PDF file convicted of it, and that's not true, it doesn't matter if there is actual malice or not. That's my understanding of how it works. So that's why they're going defamation per se, because defamation per se, you also don't have to prove some type of damages, special damages, punitive damages. So defamation per se is a certain type of defamation. But in all cases, in order to win on a defamation claim, no matter if it's a public figure or a private individual or whatever, you have to demonstrate there was harm. And you can't just say, oh, I got, anxiety now. You have to show a proximal cause between the harm you're claiming you suffered, which is PTSD, which she didn't get diagnosed with until 2025, which was after this trial commenced. She started this trial before she got the PTSD diagnosis. Now, does that mean she didn't have PTSD before? No, I'm not a doctor too, by the way. So don't quote me on anybody's diagnoses. And she might have PTSD. I'm not even trying to say she don't have PTSD. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But what's interesting is she's saying she has PTSD, but she gets diagnosed with the PTSD till 2025, and she don't take any medicine for it. And then it's like, what other harm did she try to say that she had suffered? One of the things was like a canceled contract with Call of Duty because she didn't want to get shot in the game. Well, there's a lot of reasons why she might not want to get shot in the game, namely that she's a victim of being shot by somebody. So what does that have to do with Milagro? Like, she has a duty. Megan Thee Stallion's team had a duty, a requirement to prove that there was harm done to Megan Thee Stallion specifically by Milagro. Not just, all these people on the internet been saying, no. And apparently Milagro sat up there on that stand yesterday and she said there was a lot of reasons why that doctor's analysis could be called into question, including that the doctor didn't have all the information. There was like a cherry. This is what I understand, Milagro. This is from Pam Esquire. I'm kind of paraphrasing. From what I heard from Pam Esquire, Milagro was sitting there on the stand and she was saying, that doctor got paid a whole lot of money, hefty sum, $25,000, $24,000 something dollars, and then $5,000 a day for every day she sat in this courtroom. She also didn't receive all the information that she needed to receive. She didn't know about the diss track from Nicki Minaj, please. She didn't know about the breakup that Megan was going through. They only sent her information about the doctor information about Milagro. The doctor even sat up there on the stand and said, well, I would need to supplement that information into my reporting. So did Milagro alone cause all this harm? What about Joe Budden? What about DJ Academics? What about all these people? I don't know. And so the jury has to find that the defamatory statements caused, you could say you could defame somebody, but then with no harm, it's not defamation. Regardless of your answer, go to the next one. Okay, so that's all the defamation. Okay, but there's 3 things that Milagro got sued for. So the second one is the promotion of the altered sexual depiction. Do you find by preponderance of the evidence that Milagro willfully and maliciously promoted without Megan Thee Stallion's consent a visual depiction of Megan Thee Stallion that Milagro, quote, knew or reasonably should have known was an altered sexual depiction? Okay, so when we were previously talking about this altered sexual depiction, I thought the only thing that Milagro had to do was just simply promote, quote, promote. And I thought the whole trial was going to come down, the whole count was going to come down. And this is a brand new law. This was just passed. This might be one of the first cases ever, certainly the most high profile one that I know about, certainly, to even use this and to use it as a cause of action. This is 2024. This law went into place and I like the law. I have no problem with it, especially now that I'm fully able to understand it. And again, thanks to Pam Esquire, who's been tirelessly in the court, making videos, plural, every day. And she pointed this out and she said, well, they brought it up yesterday too. In the closing statement, closing arguments that Milagro's lawyer said, we admit to the promotion of the digitally altered deep fake image. We admit she liked it. She said, go to my likes. And I thought, okay, nail in the coffin. There you go. The end. No, there's elements to this too. And the elements are not just promoted. No. It has to be, quote, willfully and maliciously. Not only that, she had to willfully and maliciously. Remember I talked about or? It could be willful or malicious. No, this is and. It has to be both. Willful, maybe, but malicious is going to be hard. And then there's a whole nother element. Milagro has to have known, or reasonably any reasonable person would have known, there was an altered sexual depiction. So I think there's 2 elements here that I'm so biased. I do want Milagro to win. I do. I want her to win. I want her to win on all 3 counts. I truly do. I truly want her to. So I'm biased, y'all. This is just commentary. But I see a way out. I see a way out where I didn't see it before for Milagro. And this is because another reason why is because Milagro was going in with an uphill battle with those 2 adverse jury instructions. They played it in court, apparently. You know, they played the video too. But apparently when Milagro was up on the stand, they played her allegedly sharing of the deep fake, right? And when she said, I think Megan Thee Stallion maybe was even trending. Somebody came into her station at her Discord or whatever platform she was on at the time and said, did you see this? Did you see that? Other people were asking about it, and Milagro didn't want to share it. And she said, I don't want to share it or whatever. And she said, I liked it on Twitter. So she's like, go to my likes. And there was only a few people in there. Now, I did not know this either, but apparently after about 15 minutes of the go to my likes being up, Milagro removed it. So she removed it not days later, not weeks or months or years later, like minutes later. That's what she testified. I don't know. I wasn't there. And I wasn't even following it at the time. I had no idea what was going on at the time. I was like studying for the bar exam. But go to my likes was only up for 15 minutes. And apparently whenever she finally did take it down those 15 minutes later, when she said, go to my likes, which she said verbally, go to my likes. And it was only because people were saying, what's going on with Meg Thee Stallion? What's going on with Meg Thee Stallion? And Milagro on the live broadcast did go to look at the tweet or the link that someone else posted. So why isn't that person getting sued? Someone else posted the link and Milagro didn't pull it up. It was just voice. She was just talking about it. And she's like, oh my God, is that real? I don't know if that's real or not. If it's not real, Megan needs to sue whoever made that. And then people were like, what is it? What is it? Show it to us. Show it to us. And Milagro would not show it. So this all to me points to it's not malicious. It's her. It wasn't knowingly either, right? Because what are the two things you need? The two separate things. You need willful and malicious. That's one. And the second thing you need, so it's really 1A and 1B. 1A, willful. So did she willfully share it? Maybe. Promote, not share, promote. She willfully promoted? Yeah, I think probably yeah. But what about maliciously? I think it was more appropriately characterized as innocently because someone brought the link to her and she is a commentator. And so she was commenting. Now, what else? She needs to show, Megan has to show, Pete has to show, the Stallion, that Milagro knew or reasonably should have known it was an altered sexual depiction. Well, the video is in dispute. Whoever said, why isn't the video in dispute? It is in dispute. It's one of the 3 counts. So I think it was a setup too. That's my opinion. Who set her up? I couldn't begin to guess. But I have personally been, in my opinion, attempted setup before as well. Someone has sent me a fake, phony, fraudulent, altered digital depiction. It was a corn video of Lima Yevrimovich, and I believe it was fake, and it's no longer up, so please nobody go try to look for it or find it. It was not her. It was definitely, in my opinion, somebody else that they did an AI deep fake, and I believe it was to make me promote it for exactly this. They were trying to catch her, is what they, people are saying in the chat. Okay, shout out to Cat Eyes. I was there. Millie, that's Milagro, said, go to my likes, but they brought it to her. I was there. I wasn't there. Okay. So this person was there, Cat Eyes. Shout out to you. Got it. Legitimacy of the creator. Got it. Okay. So she's saying the legitimacy of the video is not in dispute. Everyone just agrees that it's a deep fake. But this doesn't, like, in the context of, like, she shared, go to my likes, that was only up for 15 minutes. She never really shared the video, which couldn't, she promoted it, but, like, what about the malicious? Malicious? Maybe. But also, even if Megan Pete proved to the jury that this was a malicious sharing of the deepfake, Milagro did take it down 15 minutes later, the go to my likes. Now, again, she did not share the video itself. She said, go to my likes, which is being construed as promoted. Okay. But Megan also had to show that Milagro knew or reasonably knew it was an altered sexual depiction. So an altered sexual depiction, did Milagro know or reasonably know that it was an altered sexual depiction? Well, I would say based on her actions, no. Because when the video got brought up in her live or whatever it was, the station or whatever. She didn't know about it at first, apparently, and they played all this for the jury. The jury heard her say, "What is that? Oh my God. No, I'm not sharing it, but go to my likes, whatever, whatever, whatever. If this is real, if this isn't real, she needs to sue whoever put this out. Whoever made this, she needs to sue it." So to me, it doesn't, there's not a lot of evidence that Milagro knew or reasonably should have known that it wasn't real. She might have thought it was real. She might have not known. It was like, did she know or reasonably should have known it was real? And she was like, it could have been real. It could have been fake. And especially in the moments she just found out about it. And y'all know AI is getting pretty good. So who knows? I don't know if this is a slam dunk. I thought this was going to be the hardest one for Milagro to win. I don't think so anymore. I think that she might be able to win this whole thing. Now, again, I don't know how any of it's going to go. I was definitely wrong on one of my predictions about the Diddy thing. And please, nobody take anything I'm saying as like, I wasn't there. I don't know. I know as much as y'all. I'm just reading stuff online. I don't talk to any of these people and I never have. I am in that sense very disinterested. I don't have any dog in the fight, as it were. Now, moving on to, it says, regardless of whatever you answer here. So yes, did you find, jury, it has to be unanimous, by the way, unanimously, that Milagro maliciously promoted a visual depiction of Megan Thee Stallion that Milagro knew or should have known was an altered visual depiction. She should have known that was fake. Jury, yes or no, regardless of your answer, move to the last one. This is the last count. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. And I've said from the beginning, I think this is going to be the hardest one to win, because even if you share a real life, revenge corn of somebody, just that alone is not enough for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, it is enough under the sharing revenge corn statute, but this is a different statute. This statute is intentional infliction of emotional distress. It is so hard to prove this. Like, almost nobody ever wins when they sue for this. It's just so hard. You have to do something so outrageous, like way beyond, like even legitimate stalking in and of itself does not rise to the level of intentional infliction of emotional distress. I mean, I don't know why people keep suing for this, because like almost never wins this. And that's why I've been saying, I think the strongest case is the deep fake image. Now, look, not for nothing, Megan and her team gave it hell. They gave it hell, and they might win. They might win on all three. I don't know. That's interesting. Life of Samad said within 10 minutes, AI generated articles were created to frame her using sources that couldn't be traced back for verification. And I want to also point out, when Milagro would lose something in court and Megan Thee Stallion would have a win, I would see articles about it. I ain't seen nobody's article except Megan Cuniff herself, who have come out and said that Megan Thee Stallion violated a court order. So even if it's legacy media, I mean, I think they could be biased. So the jury will be given instructions on what extreme and outrageous conduct means. And this is another one of those things where it's like, you can be on Twitter and YouTube all day saying something is extreme and outrageous, and you can believe it, and that's fine. But under the law, things have like specific definitions. Like I just told y'all, even stalking, actual stalking, you could get sued for stalking, lose for getting sued for stalking or doxing or cyber harassment or harassment, and it still doesn't rise up to the level of intentional infliction of emotional distress. This is an extraordinarily high standard, and it has to be intentionally engaged, not just oopsie, I didn't know, not negligent, intentional. She on purpose. She on purpose was extreme and outrageous. And again, y'all, this isn't just, do you think it was extreme and outrageous? There's going to be in the jury instructions, like what that means. And it's got to be something beyond just stalking. It's got to be something beyond just, and remember, I mean, Milagro did not get sued for stalking or harassment. It was intentional infliction of emotional distress. And I'm just wondering, why didn't they sue Milagro for like the cyber stalking? Because like that's what I keep seeing people. And she cyber stalked her address. Well, then why she didn't sue for that? Why didn't she sue for cyber stalking? I mean, she was suing her anyway. Why didn't she sue for cyber stalking? I'm not asking it rhetorically. I really don't know. I really don't know why she didn't. I'm reading y'all's comments. Okay, so if you answer yes, that she did intentional infliction of emotional distress, go to the next question. Okay, so I think they're not going to say yes on this, but who knows? Who knows? If they do answer yes, do you find that Megan the Stallion, suffered severe emotional distress as a result? So again, not only does the conduct have to have occurred, Megan Pete had a duty to prove that she suffered because of it. Because like some extreme stuff can happen to some people and they're not bothered. Some extreme stuff, some not extreme stuff can happen to people and they are really bothered, but it wasn't extreme. You see how it's two? You need to prove Milagro actually did it and Megan the Stallion suffered harm. Now this is separate from the harm from the defamation. And then there's the damages question. What about Megan violating the gag order? I mean, we already talked about that. Shout out to Amber TSW, my mom, for the gifted memberships. Thanks so much to Fabian for the $5. She was happy to be brought up initially, said she was hoping to get the exhibits of her name being brought up. Now she crying she was brought up. Oh, right. Listen, I really don't want no smoke with Megan Cuniff. But I have locked horns with far more formidable opponents. So it would probably be in her best interest to just not with the passive aggressive corporatized. It's almost like girlfriend. Woo, girl. I'm not the one. I'm not the two. I'm not the 465. All right. Take that vitriol and aim it at something else. I'm not the one. Thanks so much for the $10 super sticker. Shout out to Lena Moreland for becoming a new member. Daphne said, I have not heard the phrase honey child since I was a kid. Seattle cousin from Birmingham. Shout out to the Seattle cousins. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I think you did it twice. Thank you so much for the two $10 super chat. Thank you so much to Tennial for the $10 super sticker. Thanks so much to New Tiger for the $4.99 super chat. Thanks for your coverage. If Milagro loses, I'm concerned about the precedent it may establish in several ways. Anyway, go Tigers, go Tigers. And thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I am also concerned about the precedent it may set. And that's why I said I don't think Milagro should lose, especially the defamation stuff. Like this deep fake thing, that's a new law. It's kind of iffy. The intentional infliction of emotional distress, this would be a massive departure from the typical, case. If this counts as intentional infliction of emotional distress, it's crazy that a lot of this other stuff hasn't in the past counted for as intentional infliction of emotional distress, because there's stuff like straight up stalking doesn't count as that. Thanks so much for the 5 gifted memberships to Amber TSW. I'm gonna look up if anything's happened. I mean, they're saying that a verdict could come today. It is noon. In his closing argument, okay, let's go to Megan Cuniff, who don't want me to say that Megan the Stallion looks like, she got defeated for whatever reason. A lot of people in the chat, thank you for the $2, are saying stuff about a new judge taking over. I really don't, new judge that can take over. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why. I don't know why there would be a new judge at this stage in the trial. I don't know why people are saying there's going to be a new judge. Y'all might know something I don't know. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Oh, the Demore case, y'all are saying. Okay. So she's saying in his closing argument, Milagro's lawyer, Jeremy McClement, displayed a childhood photo of Milagro surrounded by older family members. Quote, she grew up around individuals who have a certain type of vernacular. They have a certain type of personality. And that's why I said that's my cousin. If you know, you know. She took the personalities that she saw as a child and she created a radio show. And I mean, that's what we're all doing. That's what we're all doing, all of us, at every day. We're just a product of what we've seen. And whether that be emulating and imitating it or rejecting it and doing the exact opposite, all of us are only a product of what we've seen and learned, and especially in our formative years. So she took the personalities she saw as a child, she created a radio show. Okay, that's what she's saying. Let's see if there's any, like, you know, is the jury deliberating right now? Megan's lawyer, in his closing arguments, John O'Sullivan, talked a lot about Tory Lanez being guilty. Before it ever happened, he's got some things about him that says, yeah, he's probably a guy that canned that. Girl, I don't know what that says or what that means. Megan's lawyer came across a bit like an old guy shocked by this newfangled invention the kids have called rap. He's obviously totally appalled by Tory Lanez Cap video. He played part of it for the jury near the end of his closing. Milagro's connection to that video is loose, however. And the jury did get the instruction about Milagro deleting messages. Okay, so this is one of the things that the jury heard. Instruction number 2, deletion of evidence. A party to a lawsuit, such as Milagro, has a legal duty to retain and preserve paper and electronic communications and other documents that concern the case. This includes, among other things, all electronically stored information in one's possession, custody, or control, such as emails, text messages, and other communications. The day before Megan Thee Stallion filed a lawsuit, her attorneys notified, okay, this is interesting. They can notify her. They can notify Milagro not to delete anything, but they couldn't notify her that they were going to sue her and to do what they were required to do under the statute if she's media. That's interesting. That's interesting. The day before, and another thing too about this whole media question that I wanted to bring up too is Megan Thee Stallion is now arguing that Milagro is not media. But she's also sat on the stand and said that Milagro hurt her the most out of DJ Academics and Joe Budden and the diss track from Nicki Minaj and all of this other stuff because, in part, just because Milagro only has 40,000 followers doesn't mean that she doesn't get a lot of engagement and views. Okay, well, so she is media then. It's like, if it's good for the goose, it got to be good for the gander. So on the one argument, it's like, oh, I'm so hurt because the girl with 40,000 followers, she hurt me more than Nicki Minaj. She hurt me more than DJ Academic. She hurt me more than Joe Budden. But at the same time, she's not media. What? She got the most views. She got all this engagement. But also she don't want her to be counted as media. It just seems like you do have to pick a side. And here's the thing too about juries. There's a lot of corruption. You know, there's a lot of witness intimidation. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. I don't put anything past anybody. But jurors are like largely like just people like you, me. They sat in there. They saw that one side of the story. And then they saw Milagro's lawyer come through and pull up the full context. As a juror, you might feel a little duped. Like Megan Thee Stallion's team was maybe possibly trying to trick you, trying to pull the wool over your eyes. And if they could do that in that courtroom, couldn't they do it elsewhere? I mean, juries are usually, they're smart. And if you actually were able to sit in a jury deliberation room, like people do for the most part, take it seriously. They're missing work. They've been sitting in here this whole time. These are matters of extreme public importance. It's 2 Black women. One's a celebrity, mental health, shooting, criminal cases are involved. this is a big issue. It's about opinions. It's about new media. It's about speech. So I think the jury usually takes their job kind of seriously. I mean, that doesn't mean they're not dozing off and texting and, not paying attention to every single moment of the trial. But usually when they get back there, for the most part, they play ball, as it were. They should be leaving for lunch soon. So here's the jury instruction. We'll go further. The day before Megan Thee Stallion filed the lawsuit, she didn't send notice she was going to sue. She sent notice she was going to sue, but she didn't send the retraction demand like as is required. But again, maybe, Megan Thee Stallion, she would say, that's because I didn't think Milagro was media under the law. Her lawyers would say or whatever. I mean, you can decide whether you would believe that or not. But the day before the lawsuit was filed, Megan Thee Stallion's attorneys formally notified Milagro that Megan was going to sue her and she had to retain and preserve certain things like messages. Despite this written notice and these underlying legal duties, defendant deleted thousands of text messages and removed the WhatsApp app from her phone and potentially contained messages and chats. In reaching your verdict, you should assume and infer that Milagro intended to deprive Megan Thee Stallion of the evidence in the deleted messages and chats, and at least some of the deleted messages were about Megan. And they were unfavorable to Milagro. Interesting. Okay, so there was no adverse jury instruction about Tory Lanez, according to Megan Cuniff. And this is important because that was one of the 2 uphill battles that I had said, or maybe it was 3, that I had said that Milagro had to face. She did not hear, Megan Cuniff says she did not hear the judge say any special instruction to the jury about Tory Lanez refusing to answer questions in his deposition in prison. But the judge is 20,000. So that's fair. I think that's, this judge might be biased, but I think that's fair and that's correct and that's right. If Tory Lanez doesn't want to answer questions for a deposition, I believe he shouldn't have to, especially where the deposition in the case doesn't really involve him at all. He's not a party. Like it involves him insofar as, he needs to be mentioned, he needs to be brought up because this all started around his criminal trial and issues relating to it. But I didn't think it was right or fair to hold Milagro responsible for Tory Lanez. I thought that was one of the things that I was like, golly, like, can this lady catch a break? Sunstar was speaking in tongues and calling the Holy Spirit in, which means amen. But who knows how that's going to go over in front of a jury. Tory Lanez was refusing to answer questions, which I completely think he has the right to do. He was fined for it. He had to pay for that. But it wasn't fair to me that the jury should hear an adverse jury instruction that Tory Lanez didn't answer the following questions because this, that, and the other. And Milagro should face consequences for that. I mean, Milagro stuck her neck out for this man. And all for what? Golly. So I'm glad if the judge didn't read anything, as far as that adverse instruction, I think that's a good thing. One juror has to leave today at 4. The judge will leave it at 1:30. So if the jury is still deliberating at 1:30, which is in about an hour, 15 minutes. Okay. All right. This is what y'all were talking about. Another judge is going to step in. Okay. Another judge is going to step in because this judge has to leave at 1:30 for Thanksgiving. And the judge stepping in is the one over over DeMauri's case, Judge Bloom, another biased judge. Oh my God. Some quotes from Milagro's testimony on Tuesday. I know I'm rough. I know I have a potty mouth. I know all of that. But when all is said and done, I'm a good person I'm about to cry. I've never spoken to Milagro in my life, but I know what it feels like to be bullied and abused because of how you talk, because of how your passion is displayed. Because so what? So what? I say curse words. So what? My dad was a drug addict. So what? What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. And in Milagro's opinion, which she is constitutionally allowed to have, she don't believe Megan Thee Stallion, and that's perfectly permissible. And she's had to be abused, attempted bankrupted. I'm sure this has affected her personal life in many ways. She was silenced. She was gagged from being able to talk about an issue of public concern that she really cared about. She said, I know I'm rough and I know I have a potty mouth. I know all that. But when it's all said and done, I'm a good person with a good heart who cares about people. She went on to talk about Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. He's in prison. My God deserves to say what his judgment is. He already has been punished. So somebody wants to be his friend to advocate for him. She doesn't get to decide that he can't, still fight for his life and his freedom. And it just feels like that's what Megan has been doing. Megan, Milagro commented on Megan Thee Stallion's answers to Megan's lawyer. No. So then Milagro continues to, and this is talking to Megan's lawyer. I guess this is the cross-examination. I think you're trying to trigger me by mentioning my children. My children are raised well, and they have values and principles and morals. We teach them that, me and their father. So this I wanted to talk about too, because on one of the earlier days of trial, Megan Thee Stallion, understandably, truly, I'm not even going to say she's not allowed to be upset that there was a deep fake going around of her doing whatever, acts unspeakable, whatever. But she said that one of the reasons why it was so hard was that, or so harmful, was that her grandmother is still alive. And she didn't want to have to explain to her grandmother this deep fake pornographic video. And it's like, wait, hold on. Did the grandma see the WAP video? I don't even think the WAP video is the most embarrassing thing. That deepfake thing is far from the most embarrassing thing to ever happen. If I'm worried about having to explain something to my grandma, I'm not worried about having to explain a deepfake. I'm going to say Mimi, I'm going to say Granny. Some sick perverts made a fake video of me. Isn't that sick? Okay, fine. It's over. They definitely not about to look it up. Okay, fine, it's over. But if my grandparents saw me in that Party City SpongeBob suit at the Kamala Harris rally, oh my God, that polyester monstrosity, I think that would be the hardest thing to explain to them. Baddie, bougie, baddie, whatever the song is, I'm a savage, with that Party City polyester SpongeBob outfit is far more embarrassing than any potential deepfake. In my opinion, that's my opinion. I would have a lot harder time explaining that to my granny. I would have a lot harder time explaining the WAP music video because that's my choice at that point. Yes, I sang a song and rapped in a song with another woman and other women, and we had our booties out, and we had, people had their titties out, and there was just pasties over them, and we were bouncing, and we were talking about macaroni in a pot. That's far more embarrassing than a deep fake somebody else made. That's my opinion. I'm from Louisiana. I got Southern grandparents. I think I have a little context on what they would think is embarrassing. They would be upset, but then they would just tell their friends down at the Pentecostal church, that's fake. Somebody made that of my baby. Let's pray. What about the WAP music video? I mean, that was like, there's a pre-WAP and a post-WAP. You know what I mean? Like that was a cultural moment. That was my neck, my back for this generation. My poor granny would have a hard time stirring a pot of macaroni after that. I'm right. That's my opinion. Milagro also testified that she was, quote, new media. I do much more than just writing articles. But at the same time, the legwork that official journalists do, I've done that time and time again. I'm just about the truth of what I think is right. I just felt like something had been wrong. I don't live by do as I say. You have to navigate a certain way. That's why there's a stark difference in the way that I run my show and the way that I live my life. The jury has asked a few questions already. Megan said, I haven't seen the exact questions, but I was in the courtroom when the judge addressed them just now. First, asked to identify specific exhibits. Okay, the jury, see, they're back there, they're asking. Second, they asked about the deep fake video statute in Florida, which Megan's lawyer told them in closing was a brand new law. I think the question was about where it applies because Milagro's lawyer wanted to say it's specific to Florida. But Megan's lawyer says other states have similar laws. The judge will tell them, please rely on the instructions I have given you. The jury also apparently asked where Megan was when she saw the video. She testified she was in the back of a tour bus. No state was specified. The judge will tell the jury, please rely on your memory of the evidence. So I don't like that. They don't have a transcript of what Megan said. I don't like that. The jury should have full access to everything that was said at the trial. Like I remember in Diddy's trial, which was a criminal case in the Southern District, is a different place. And they're working through lunch. The Jimmy John's delivery guy, just not sponsored, just arrived at the courtroom with 2 boxes of sandwiches for the jury as attorneys were going into the courtroom to discuss the questions. Lunch is underway in the jury deliberation room. Okay, so what is the jury asking and what have they asked about so far? Megan Cuniff says she hasn't seen all the questions. But the first one was about identifying specific exhibits. The second one was about the deep fake video. And the statute, specifically about the statute, which Megan's lawyer said was a brand new law. I think the question was about where it applies because Milagro's lawyer wanted to say it's specific to Florida. Megan's lawyer said other states have similar laws. The judge will tell them to rely on the instructions they already got. The jury also apparently asked where Megan was because, like, if Megan wasn't even in Florida when she saw it, why should this Florida law protect her? Which, I mean, I guess this has already been technically decided because the jurisdiction was conceded or whatever. But I mean, I don't know why the jury is asking this. Where was she? She was in the back of a tour bus, but where? And then the Jimmy John showed up. So that's what's going on right now. So, I mean, who knows? We can only speculate because we're not back there. But the jury is digging in and they're asking questions. And this is usually what juries do. I mean, they've already sat there. They've had to be away from their work. They've had to take, some of them have taken, not everybody gets paid days off. So they're not getting paid. They're sitting there and they've been tasked with an issue of high importance. It deals with celebrities. It deals with, it relates to murder trials, mental health, mental illness, freedoms we have, freedom of speech, freedom to comment on things, brand new law. So juries usually do take their job seriously. I mean, some of them take it too seriously. They have questions. Yeah, it could help them understand why Milagro looked up Megan's address. It could. But I mean, at this point, the judge is going to give like very little information. And it seems like even less information than what was given in like even the Diddy trial. Cause like the jurors were allowed to get transcripts of things. Like they were not told to rely on their memory. Like if they wanted something, they got it. From what I remember. And that's me relying on my memory, pun intended. But I'm going to sit on here for a few more minutes because, like, I want to see what's going on. I want to see what's going on with this jury. And, like, if they're going to ask more questions. But, my first thought here, whenever I saw that they were already on the deep fake thing, is, like, they already got past the defamation one, right? Because, like, the defamation was first. But they could have been like, let's do that last because I'm not ready for that one yet. They might already be on the second issue. They might have already determined the defamation. Do a poll. What should I say in the poll? I can do one. but I don't know what should I say in the poll? You don't even know. You just said do a poll. Okay, yes. Thank you so much to Fabian for bringing this to my attention. When you said it, I had no idea what you're talking about, but now I see what it is. Like the judge for today has to leave, but Judge Bloom, which I believe is well, actually, you know what? I don't know if let me not misspeak. I don't know if it's Judge Bloom that's biased or if it's her magistrate, because it's the magistrate that's been deciding this stuff from what I understand the Demore case. Maybe it's Judge Bloom. I don't know. But she's only going to be sitting like in the courtroom, like, and the jury is back in the back. So it's like if the jury has a question, they send it up to the front. Then at 1:30, which is in an hour, the judge sitting over Altanaga, she's going to leave. And then Judge Bloom is going to come and sit in on the case. And it's only going to be for, I think, today, because it's like a half day for this judge, but she doesn't want to send the jury home early. She wants to let them keep deliberating. Remember, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. So this jury maybe will have some type of incentive to just be done with it by now. Today, I mean. Shout out to Nixie being a member for 6 months. And thank you so much, Nixie, for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Nikki, member for 6 months. Thank you for explaining all the legal stuff. I wouldn't understand it without you. I hope Millie wins, as I worry for the precedent this could set. Thanks so much for the $2. He still has an appeal. Would be wrong. Thanks for the $2 super chat. You the best. Keep that Virgo power coming. Listen, shout out to the Virgos in the chat, and shout out to the Scorpios too. Honestly, I like a lot of signs. I get along with a lot of signs. I'm a very amenable person. I would call myself a people person, but I don't really like to do too much like in-person interaction. I like to be at my house. That's the hermit, right? That's Virgo. Thanks so much for the $2. So we still don't know what the poll is going to be. Joseph, I don't know the answer to this question. It's something I'm actually also confused about. So the short answer is I don't know. Joseph said, Judge Altanaga is supposed to make a decision about the media defendant issue. How can she do this if the deliberation goes beyond 1:30? From what I understand, and I am very confused about this because I haven't been in the courtroom and I'm also not an expert, but from what I understand, Milagro and her lawyers have allowed the judge or have waived the right for the judge to make the decision on whether or not she's media, and have let the jury make the decision. Like, it's in the jury form. It's in the jury instructions that they get to decide whether she's media. And then they give these little elemental, variables that are supposed to be considered and all that. So I don't know if that's actually true, that the judge has to make a decision on the media thing, but maybe you're right. I don't know. I'm very confused. I'm very lost. Oh no. Now Twitter ain't loading. Oh, good. Okay, there we go. It's loaded now. Let's see. So lunch is underway right now. That's the most recent one. Let me go to like just regular news or whatever. Megan Stallion defamation. Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, 8 minutes ago, WPLG local. There's not really like anybody in the courtroom. Like, you know how there's like live coverage from inside the courtroom sometimes, like in the Diddy trial or whatever? That's not going on here. Her bag today is almost big enough. Okay, so here's an article came out 18 minutes ago. Megan Thee Stallion returned to a Miami-Dade federal courthouse as her defamation case against a blogger nears its end. The lawsuit claims Milagro Cooper, a social media influencer known as Milagro Grams, posted false and harmful statements about her online. The Grammy winner is claiming defamation. She's only 30? Wow. I mean, she's beautiful. Y'all, the one thing I have to say, Megan Thee Stallion, even though she doesn't know how to dress for court, even though I definitely do not think she should win this case, is a beautiful individual. And Beyonce too. Can we talk about that real quick? Everybody's been dragging Beyonce because she looks like, maybe she's gained a little weight or whatever. The woman's in her 40s. She looks great. What don't look great is the Party City styling and the red pleasers. That don't look great. This open toe in court is a no. And also, I would just not do the full white after Labor Day if I was trying to win a court case in Miami. However, Miami, it doesn't ever even get winter down there. So maybe you could just wear white all year. I don't know. She's claiming defamation, invasion of privacy, emotional distress. I don't think invasion of privacy is in there. I think this is fake news. And promotion of a deep fake video. In court, Megan testified that the AI altered video cost her multiple brand deals, some worth more than $1 million each. But again, it wasn't, I mean, I don't know if Megan did a great job proving that it was because of Milagro, or if it could have been explained by somebody else, something else. The case is also one of the first to test Florida's new deep fake law, which allows victims to sue over AI-generated explicit content shared without consent. And I think that's fine. I don't have any issue with that. But it's like, it has to be malicious, willful, with knowing or having reason to know that it is a fake. Another important question raised is whether Milagro qualifies as media under Florida state law. If so, Megan's defamation claim could be dismissed. Megan Thee Stallion, whose legal name is Megan Pete, alleges that Milagro participated in a targeted social media campaign to harass, intimidate, and defame her. I've been sued for literally exactly this, and I keep winning. Lanes was found guilty of Pew Pew Megan Thee Stallion in a separate trial back in 2020. He's currently, or 2022. This is fake news. They don't even have their facts straight over here. Okay, let me go back to see if she's tweeted anything else over here. No. The most recent is the Jimmy John's lunch. How long is the trial supposed to last? Well, it was supposed to, I mean, the original prediction that people were making was that it was supposed to be over Monday. So people there are speculating that the jury is going to come back with a verdict today. If they don't come back with a verdict today, then the court is going to be closed until next week, and then Monday they'll come back. This is crazy. Lily said, I've been a juror in Tampa. Florida only provides a binder of paper and a pen. Jurors are told to rely on note-taking of the trials. Wow. Beyonce looks her age. People are not used to that in Hollywood. Yeah, they're not people, and they're just used to looking at like abnormal women and abnormalities as normal. And it certainly has skewed the public perception. But that outfit was bad. I must say, the outfit was not good. In my opinion, that's my opinion. Okay, well, I do have some things to do. So there's really nothing that's happened here. I will be back maybe later if anything happens today. But for the meantime, I think I gotta go. I think I gotta do some things for my own personal life. And I'll be following nevertheless. And if something happens or whatever, just make sure you're subscribed, make sure your notifications are on. If at the very least, I'll at least make a little short and post it up. I was told Pam Esquire has posted a video. She's over there at the court. So I encourage y'all to go over there and watch the video. I'm certainly going to do so after this live. I would watch it here, but I want y'all to go over there and watch her stuff and, tell her I sent you and all that. Don't be mean or whatever, anything like that. Like, thankfully she's been in the court and she's been a really good resource, a really good source for me to, I watch Armand. I love his coverage but he has, personal entanglements. He's been in a little bit of a beef or a little tiff with Milagro in the past, and then there's, other people covering it. But Pam Esquire, she does seem to have gone out of her way to stay out of all that, side stuff. And I'm not even saying that Armand thrust himself into that. I really don't know the background information about him and Milagro, but for Pam Esquire, I do think she's done a great job of staying neutral and from the beginning. And she really, she hasn't really given a lot of predictions. She really only said that she thought, so did Megan Cuniff, that this was a better, Milagro's lawyer did a better closing than Megan's. Yeah, so lunch is underway in the jury deliberation room. Maybe they're not working through lunch. Maybe they're just eating lunch and they'll come back after lunch. Now, this judge has to leave in about 1 hour, 1:30, and then Judge Bloom's going to come in. And we'll just see. We'll just see how it goes. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.